mice out in the field, house mice, deer mice, whatever kind of mouse you can get. Any kind of rat, squirrel, chipmunks, pretty much anything in the room. They would go after a small groundhog. An adult groundhog would be pretty tough on them. Rabbits, they like rabbits. They'll go after snakes. They might go after something small like an opossum, but generally things like opossums are not active during the daytime where they could get them. So they're very handy and useful to have in the environment. The other cool thing about them is they like grassland areas with big shade trees nearby. What habitat do we have that matches that description? The interstate highway system. You got it. You have the median strips of grass, you have the grassy shoulders, and usually have the mature trees. Some people call the red-tailed hawk the freeway hawk because of how frequently we see them along interstate highways. We also have them nesting in the city. We see them out by the Museum of Natural History hunting squirrels all the time. So it's a really, really cool bird. If you ever want to see them, you've got to do something, though. This is very important. I hope all you guys remember this. If you want to see a red-tailed hawk in nature, you know what you have to do? You have to look up. Because most of the time, they're going to be soaring in the sky above you. Now, you might say, well, of course you have to do that. But wait a minute. How many times a day do you actually look up? There's a world of feathered things that are flying around us that we ignore. We were driving the other day and there was one of these huge flocks, mixed flocks of blackbirds. And there was probably 2,000 or 3,000 birds in it, and they're going across the freeway. Wow, that's a lot of birds. How many people actually pick up on that? I use this illustration. Once I was pumping gas at what is now a speedway at 306 Interstate 90. And it was before they had the canopy on top of the entire gas station. It was a marathon back then. And I'm sitting there, I'm pumping the gas and looking around, and I hear this. And I look up, and there's a broad V of over 300 tundra swans headed north on 306, not at very great altitude. And I'm just going, unbelievable. It was a dark sky. It was one of those sights that just, you go all goose pimply and everything. And I'm looking at that, and I go off in the distance, and I look around, and not one person of the 30 people at that gas station looked up. Not one! So I exhort you all when you're outside, look up from time to time, because you particularly here in Geauga County, you've got so many riches, so many natural riches, and you just keep your senses open for it. Anyway, this guy was hatched in 2001, so he's 14 years old this year. I had a red-tailed hawk once lived to be 32, so they're capable of really long lives. I hope he lives that long. He's a great bird, and he's a great agent for education because he's so calm with people. He's very comfortable on the glove. Actually, you saw he was way too comfortable. So that way we can bring him into an environment like this, and we don't worry about stressing him out, and so you get a chance to see one of the coolest birds around here up close and personal. I thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Harvey. Thank you very much for being here today and for sharing meat with us, and for the wonderful presentation on eagles. This is really great. Thank everybody for coming here. We have a little present here for you from Protect Geauga Park. Excuse me. There we go. And does anybody have questions for Harvey?
Well, I'd say I'll stick around as long as you have questions, but it's awfully warm in here. But yeah, go ahead. How big is an eagle egg? It's smaller than a goose egg. It's larger than an extra large egg. It's about that long. Yeah.
I did watching the live cam of the eagle's nest in
Pennsylvania.
Yes. And I noticed the male comes and leaves. Does he live in a different nest somewhere?
No. So remember, a nest is only a place to raise a family. You don't live in a nest. Once the youngsters fly free, you won't probably go to the nest until the next spring. So what his job is, when the young are really small that way, she does most of the brooding and feeding. So his job is to provide food for all of them. So he's got to be hot honey. Yeah. They do, and remember the grape nest was used over. Well, we think of a pair of eagles as a continuum in time. They mate for life. So if you have a pair at, like that one, that nest that was in Vermilion, it could have been different individuals. So let's say you start off with male A and female A. And after 10 years, male A dies. Female A recruits a new mate. Now you have male B and female A. They go for another 5 years. And she dies. Male B recruits female B. So there's kind of constant presence there, but different individuals. Yeah. Can train a red-tailed hawk to do. Red-tailed hawk falconry is a legal sport in the state of Ohio, and one of the best birds to use in Ohio would be a red-tailed hawk. Falconry is really tough to get a falconer's license. You have to be tested on your knowledge of biology of the birds, or training with the birds. You have to build the facilities and whatever you want. You have to apprentice under a master falconer. But you could use a red-tailed hawk to hunt squirrels and you could hunt in two ways. You would have them pass them off while they're flying or in some cases you might be able to pass them off. But there, you're not training
Before everybody takes off, what are the lessons you remember here?
One of the big lessons to remember that saving the eagles was absolutely wonderful. It was amazing we were able to do it. Even better is to preserve them. So we do that through conservation. So please, everybody, write letters to your park board, to your elected officials, to your newspapers, and stress conservation. And
now, Martha passed away. I had one that I got.
Oh, I'll go that way. But there's not really much. We can go this way too. I gotta get some beer.
Yeah, it's pretty warm. It's pretty warm.
Are you going to say Idaho?